Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of the final push, where we are now looking at our practical modules. I'm going to be using most of you should have this, our grade 10 textbook from the 2nd edition, and then I'm going on to the grade 11 modules, 2nd edition as well, and grade 12's, your 2nd edition textbook as well. So please remember, as we've done before, I'm going to go from grade 10 all the way through. I'm going to be touching on basically everything that they've covered in the textbook to make sure that you are familiar with everything. And the whole idea is so that you just get refreshed as to where all the different options are and how to use them. Okay, we might not have time, we saw yesterday, we might not always have time to go in detail on everything, but just so we know exactly where these options are and also how to approach the prac. You know, one of the big things that I've found is that people don't always approach the practical exam correctly. Now, when I say correctly, think about this. When you get your paper, I'm just going to come closer. When you end up getting your paper, the first thing you should be doing is just having a look at everything, page through it, and see which questions you are strongest with. Okay? You don't have to, remember this is a prac, you don't have to start at question number 1. You can start at question 2, question 5, it doesn't matter. Right? But have a good read through everything, see where you'd like to start, knock out the things that you know that you can do very easily. So you knock those things out, tick it off on your page, and you know you are done with that. Then you go back and you go to the things that you struggle a little with, only a little with, and you leave the very hard items, the ones that you're going to spend a lot of time with, that you leave for right at the end. Okay, when you've got time to play with. So having a strategy like that helps. Okay, so let's get into it. Again, as always, let me know in the comments where you are joining me from. Always glad to hear, what school you're from, what area, province, all this type of thing. We had a lovely session yesterday, so let's get into what we need to do for today. Okay, so just moving over to my slides here. First things first, just congrats to Carlton and Ricardo from yesterday. Carlton has contacted me. Ricardo, you still need to get in touch with me. So you can just message me or mail me so that I can sort you out with that prize. So congrats, guys. And again, remember, when it comes to this, and it comes to winning here, it's all about engagement. All about engagement. Okay, so let me get my grade 10 textbook and let's see what we're going to be doing for today. You might not see my face so much today, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so the first thing that came up, let me just get this data, because we're starting from module 3.1. So I just want to get the data here quickly. Make sure it's the correct one. And just move that out of the way. So remember these data files that's on the CD that you should have in your textbook. Guys, when you ordered this textbook, it should have come with a CD. So that's got all your data files on it. Okay, so this is what your data file or data folder should be looking like. These are all your different modules. Okay, Carlton, are you talking about these actual data files that I have in front of me now? Are you referring to that? Because I can definitely do that. Let me just make a note of these things. Please let me know. Do all of you need the grade 10, 11, and 12, grade 10, 11, and 12 data files? The ones that actually come with the textbook. If you don't have it, let me know. Past IEB paper files, you'd have to be specific in terms of which ones. I will see what I can do with regards to that. Okay, Mike, thank you. I will be doing that. I'll also check for past IEB papers plus data files. Okay, great stuff, guys. I appreciate that. I'll sort that out. Okay, so looking at 3.1, just going in over there. The first one just really dealt with working with files. So I'm just going to open up Word and open up a blank document. So just so that we are clear on these things, we have our environment over here. We have our ribbon on top. We've got our different menus. Bottom left and in fact on the sides here we've got our ruler on top as well. We can see the number of pages we have in our document, the number of words that we've typed out so far, different layouts like our read mode, print layout, our zoom, all these type of things. So when it comes to 3.1, one of the first things they wanted us to do is just familiarize ourselves with the environment, also go into file and clicking on info and seeing that this is where we can protect our document, inspect our document for any issues, manage our document. But this is the important bit, the properties and the authors. Okay, so if you want to change the author on a document or add an author on a document, this is where you would actually do it. Okay, so 3.1 just looked at those. The next one was creating a document and then inserting some symbols. So they wanted us, I'm just going to close here, to open up this document. And please just let me know if you can see everything. So we've then got this, and they wanted us to insert some symbols. So what we're going to end up doing is going to the insert tab. We're going to go over to symbol, and you will see they have, obviously a default list of symbols. Okay, but there are a whole lot more. So when I click on more symbols, and again, you want to make sure you've clicked at the particular place where you want the symbol to be inserted. So the fact that my mouse cursor is here means that it's going to actually do that. Luanga, hello. That's one of my ex-learners from Lawson. Ricardo, you know what? That's fine. There's my WhatsApp number. Just send me a WhatsApp so that I know the cell phone number that I need to send that data to. And well done again. Okay, so in the document over here, they want me to insert a symbol, so I need to see where I need to go to, or where I want the symbol. I'm going to go symbol, more symbols, and you can sometimes get a bit overwhelmed by the amount of symbols that you have here, but generally the symbols end up coming from the category of wingdings over here. However, what they will sometimes tell you to do in the question paper is they'll give you the name of the character symbol or the actual symbol itself, and they might also give you the character code. So let's say I put in 150, you can see how it highlights that one. If I put in 225, you'll see what it highlights. So just check on the question paper when you get this, or you are asked to do this, check the symbol, what it looks like, and also they should give you the character code, and then you can just go and click insert and there you will have your symbol inserted. Okay, so that's fun. Now, some of the basics here as well is you just obviously want to familiarize yourself with the font area, changing the font type, the font size, changing the case. In other words, if I highlight that and I change that to uppercase, lowercase, or sentence case, you'll see the difference between those three. One of the other things that always comes up is the alignment. Okay, so please, when you deal with the alignment, you first need to highlight the paragraph or the section that you want aligned. And you can see at the moment it's got a left alignment. So I can go center align, right align, and then this one that they always throw in, which is justify. Okay, so you just need to know really where to go and do that. One of the other things that they always throw in is line spacing. And you can see there are a few default options, and you can see what this does is it adjusts the spacing between each line. Okay, you can also see at the bottom I've got a section where I can add a space before the paragraph. So if I click on that, that'll add a space before the paragraph or remove a space before the paragraph. Do you see how that changes? Okay, so they have removed it and they have put it back. Then indents. If we look at this text over here, just so we can see what the indent actually does, you can see it's almost like your tabs, but without putting in tab stops, right? So I can increase the indent, I can decrease the indent, and that is where I would do that. Okay. One of the biggest things, especially for grade 10s that they throw in, is really this, and then our paragraph markings. Now you can see when I click on that backward facing P, it shows me where a particular paragraph ends, where the new one is. It also shows me in the middle here. Yosh Raman, you're my favorite YouTuber. I'll definitely give you a shout out. Nice to see you there or hear from you, Yosh Raman. Good to have you with us here today. So diacritical signs, you'll see this little dot that indicates a space. So when I hit spacebar again and again and again, you can see each dot will represent a space. Okay. This will be important when we start doing things like find and replace. So we'll get there. Right. So these are just some of the basics over here. What is important, and this is also for grade 12s because this came in. When I go File, Save and Save As, at the moment, I have a document that has been created. Now, when I go File, Save, can anyone tell me what is that going to do? If I just click File and I click Save, what is it going to do? Where's everyone? Okay. File save, yes. File save, at this point, when I click on it, what's it going to do? It's just going to save the changes to the existing document. That's what it's going to do. Okay. So don't expect it to save as a different type. It's only going to save the changes to the existing document. Now, when I go File, Save As, and this is important, I'm now going to, and let's say I want to save it to the desktop. You can see it's different now. Why? Because now it's asking me, where do I want to save it to? And I'm going to say the desktop. It's asking me for the file name. I'm going to leave the file name exactly the same, but I'm going to change the save as type to PDF, or maybe to Word 97-2003. What does this actually mean? Well, the save as type means that I'm going to be saving my document as a different file type, which now means that it has a different file extension. Now, if you'll remember from yesterday, we spoke about the extensions and we said that these extensions tell Windows exactly which programs to use to open the file. Okay, so if I go PDF, I'm not even changing the file name, I'm leaving it as is. You can see I can optimize it, I can add tags, I can actually go to tools and I can use some save options, anything like that. I've got all this over here and I'm going to click save. Now you'll see it saves and it opens up as a PDF. So let me just close this. Sorry, I've got multiple screens here. So there we'll see is my PDF. Now do you see that that same document that was here in Word as a Word document, and if I go to properties, I can see the extension .docs. Now this file over here has the extension .pdf, which means when I double click it, the extension is telling Windows use Adobe Reader to open that. But you can see everything is the same. Okay, so that is important because that is something that does get asked regularly, grade 10, 11, and especially grade 12, when they start asking you to change or change the file to one that can open with a different version, etc. Okay, I see Nsako is here with us as well, watching with both my grade 11s and 12s. Well, a huge hello to all of you, and thank you for joining here today as well. Okay, so that basically sorted out module 3.1 in the grade 10 area. Okay, they gave us a few other things. I think there was another one. Let me see this one. Okay, this one I want to do. Just want to see what do they want us to. Yeah, please also, when it comes to applying fonts and styles and sizes and things like that, be very careful when you read the paper. If they tell you they want only this word changed to Arial black and they want it size, let's say size 25, but you don't see size 25 here, you can go and type it in on top. Just type in 25. Oh, sorry, I pressed something else. And there you go. It will change that to size 25. Okay, please, if you see in the question paper that they've asked you to change it to a style or a font type or something that you don't see here, you need to let your invigilator know. Okay, please, you need to let the invigilator know. All right, so that is it for module 3.1. Let's move on. We're going to 3.2 now. And now they want us to look at things like margins, orientation, paper size. So let's see the first document that they have for us. And that is responsible use of computers. Okay. Now, usually for about 3 marks, you will, yes, Josh, we're doing Word, Excel, we can go through PowerPoint, we can go through Access. That's the whole point of today. Okay, so you can see over here with my tabs, under my Home tab, I've got my font category, paragraphs, styles. When I go to Insert, I can insert cover pages, page breaks, tables, illustrations, all these different things, headers, footers. My Design tab, this is where I can change the design of my layout, but have a look on the right hand side what I've got, and I want you to take note of this, my watermarks, page colors and page borders. Grade 10s, very important for you. Grade 11s as well, but actually more so for the grade 10s. But here on the Layout tab, we've got margins, orientation, and size. Those are the 3 staples that come into every prac paper, or basically every prac paper, from grade 10 all the way to the finals in grade 12. I mean, can you believe it? In grade 12 in the finals, they're still asking this. So with the margins, we know we've got set margins, default margins, but we can click on custom margins. And here, I just want to touch on one or two things. First of all, this is the section that deals with your margins. Now, I know in the grade 11 and grade 12 area, they'll sometimes ask about changing or adjusting the gutter margin and position. This is where we do it. You can see you can also change your orientation here. You can deal with multiple pages. They give you a preview, and then make sure what you are applying this to. Are you applying it to the whole document or from this point forward? Okay, this is why it's so important to read the question paper. Under the paper, they don't generally ask you to do anything there, and the layout as well. The only thing I know they might ask you is just the alignment of the page. They might ask you to change this. Headers and footers, I wouldn't worry about it here. I'd rather go into the headers and footers section, but we'll deal with that. Okay, so that's in terms of our margins. You can see our orientation. It's just portrait and landscape. And then our size, usually they want us to change it to A4, so we can just go and click and change that to A4. So let me see what they wanted us to do here. Okay, one of the first things, I just want to go to the paragraph markings. Let's have a look at our document. And we'll see we've got our different spaces. And let's zoom in a little bit, see what's happening here. Okay, everything looks okay. Here we can see that I've got a number of spaces instead of just a full stop. Okay, so I had more than one full stop. Sorry, not space, full stop. So we can go and change it. I think for this one, they actually wanted us just to do some formatting there. One of the things they then wanted us to do, once we've looked at that, we're going to go down here. We can see that computer viruses, this heading is, at the bottom of the first page. We would obviously want it to go to the second page. Hi, Yolanda. You excited to be here? Glad to have you with us. We would actually want it to go to the next page. Now, generally, let's be honest, what do? We hit enter. Okay, let's be honest, we do that. What should we actually be doing? They want us to put in a page break. Now, where am I going to go for that? You can see I went to my insert tab. I can go to page break. And if I click on page break there, does it do the same thing? More or less. But have a look at the difference. It's now going to, in the formatting, it'll show that there's a page break. And it also adds another space so that it moves the heading down slightly. Okay, let me just go back again. That is what happened when I just hit enter. Now, if you've been asked to insert a page break, and I know some of you do this, please, I'm going to be a little harsh with you today. I know some of you just press enter and then you think, no, you've actually answered the question, and then you press delete so that we don't see the bullet there. And when I go and check it, it looks like, oh wow, the learner's done it. And then I click on that button and I see, but there's not a page break, which means you haven't done what I asked you to do. And then you don't get the mark. Okay, so insert page break. I can then still delete that. And that's what it should look like. Okay, so that's inserting my page break. So are we okay with the general formatting so far? Everyone okay? Let me know. Okay, while you're giving me feedback on that, the next one, okay, thanks Ricardo, Josh. Next one is inserting page numbers. Now, you'll see I went to insert. I'm going to go over to header and footer over here, and I'm going to click on the little down arrow next to page number. Now, please, one of the things I always see, and maybe I need to go to my other screen so you can just bear with me over here. One of the things I always see is a question that gets asked like this. where they ask you to insert page numbers in the format page X of Y. Now, I'm sorry guys. Do you know what ends up happening? A lot of you insert page numbers, and at the bottom where the page number is, guess what I see? Page X of Y. That's not what they are saying, okay? They don't want to see, actually, in text there, page X of Y. We don't want to see this written. What this means is, and I'm sorry I have to go to maths now. Page, remember we are saying, when it comes to maths and maths lit, X can stand for anything. Y can stand for anything. A can stand for anything. So when we say page X, we actually mean that it's like page 1 of, let's say, 2 pages. And that's the format we want. Like page 1 of 2, page 2 of 2, page 3 of 5. That's the type of format we want. We don't want to see it written at the bottom, page X of Y. I've seen it too many times. Okay, Kutlano, yes, I'm going to go through that. Okay, so you can see here with my page numbers, I can add a page number to the top of the page, and I'm going to go bottom of the page and have a look. You can see this is the simple category, the page X category. My word, what do we see? Page X of Y. We see page X of Y. And I'm going to click on the second one. I'm just choosing it. They haven't told me which one to choose, but I'm just going to click on the second one. And there you have it, learners. Page 3 of 4. Okay. So if I go close header and footer, and I go all the way back to the top of my document, you'll see page 1 of 4. Page 2 of 4. Page 3 of 4. Page 4 of 4. Okay. So that is what they want you to see as page X of Y. That is what they are talking about. Okay. So let's just go in here to our headers and footers quickly. Now, with our headers and footers, in terms of grade 10, that's really all you needed to know. You could put a different first page in if you wanted to. You can put the tick in different odd even pages. That's also fine, but I'm going to go into that a little later. And we can just close our header, and you'll see it went from having 4 pages to now having 3 pages. And why is that? Because page 1 now doesn't have anything. Remember, I said different first page, which means my second page now has page 2 of 3, and my last one is page 3 of 3. So that first page, it's still page 1, but it will not have the page number on it. It's like if I want something different. Sorry, the only reason mine went to 3 pages was because that second page, because of that page break I had done, it got rid of that entire page. So please guys, I hope that clears up the page X of Y. All right. Another thing, line spacing. So here you can see I have paragraphs of information. Okay, I'm going to go through that a little later, TK. But if you want to do that, then you'll end up having to put in section breaks in order to cut page numbers out of certain areas. It's like that whole thing where you say you want the page numbers to start on the second page, starting from number 1. Okay, I will be going through all of that. So let me just make a note of that so I don't miss it. Remove page number. No, Ricardo, when you say different page, it does not mean that page 2 becomes number 1. Page 2 remains page 2. Like all the page numbers should remain as is. It's just that page 1 won't have a page number on it, but it's still counted as one of the page numbers. from last page. Okay, so let's look at line spacing. I'm going to highlight this paragraph over here. And I'm going to go up to my line spacing. And we did look at this earlier, but now I'm going to go into line spacing options. Now this is very important because in this area I can do general alignment. You can see I can do my indents again, the same indents that I have here, I can do over there. I do have more options. So if they ask for a hanging indent, this is where I'm going to do it. And you can also say, you know, by however many centimeters you want. So let's say for argument's sake, I'm going to apply it from the left. You can see then how it changes over here. And when I click OK, you can see this is your hanging part, right? So we've got our first section and then the rest of the paragraph sits like that. So it's been indented by, and let's just go to see where we were. So I've put an indent that from the left is 0.6 centimeters. So you can see there's my 0.6 centimeters. That's my indent. And the rest is going to be at 1.27, which is around here. Okay. So please, that is what our hanging indent is. I'm just going to take that off. And there you can see we are back to normal. Okay. Again, line spacing options. That's now my indent, my hanging indent. They will give you, and please read the question paper. I can't stress this enough. Read the question paper. So, okay, just watch wherever you're watching from, Khomotso. Just try and up the quality on the video itself. Then it should be okay. Otherwise, I'll have to turn the magnifier on and we'll have to do it that way, which is fine. You guys can just let me know what you can or can't see. In fact, let me see if I do this. Okay, so the next section deals with the spacing. So this is the spacing before the paragraph, after the paragraph. Here, don't add a space between paragraphs. And then with the line spacing, do you want multiple line spacing, single line spacing? You just need to know which options to choose. So again, it does come down, grade 10s and 11s and 12s, to reading the question paper. So you know where to go to. You know they want you to apply line spacing here. They want it to be multiple, so you know spacing, multiple. They'll give you the centimeters. You can see how that changes, and you can click OK. Okay. Yes, I can do a shout out to Zishle. Zishle, welcome. Okay, so that sorts line spacing out. It'll be the same. Okay, well, I was doing that for the paragraph, so that's fine. The alignment is fine. Paragraph indenting. There's the nice one. Paragraph borders. Okay. So I hope we're all together with that so far. We're actually making good progress on this. All right. So one of the things they wanted us to do, and this is the basic thing that they wanted us to do, is to apply paragraph borders. Borders, shading, things like that. So I'm going to look at my Lockenville diary over here. I'm just going to make that a bit bigger. And I'm going to highlight that because that is one paragraph. Okay. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to click on my little borders icon and I'm going to go all the way down to borders and shading. Now with borders and shading, I've got three options. I can apply borders, page borders, or shading. Okay. Those are the three I can you know, sit and fiddle around with over here. Okay, Isipile, sorry, Isipile. Shout out to Samika. Yes, Samika, glad to have you with us. So with our borders, you can see on the left, I'm gonna apply or choose a particular border. So let's say I'm gonna choose a shadow border. I can then select a particular style, and you'll see as I select this, on the right hand side, the preview is changing. I can even select a color. Okay, let's go with, okay, let's go with this sort of dark green, olive kind of color. I can adjust the width as well, and you can see the preview I have on the right hand side. Now, I can go in here and I can click on this to remove these items. So I'm going to apply this to the paragraph only, and that's what you'll see. Now, let's say I want to get rid of this so that it's only the border on top at the bottom. I can go back inside and I can just click on the sides to remove them and click OK. And that way I've applied a border to just that paragraph. Now, let's add some shading. So let's use this paragraph. First, we highlight the paragraph. We go to borders and shading. I'm now going to select a different border. Let's go with a 3D border. Going to use this style, that color, width, and then I'm going to go up to shading. And now shading is going to color in the background. So at the moment you'll see it's no color. I'm going to put in like a light blue, and you can see I can do a pattern if I want to, but I'm not. I'm just going to leave it as is, and I'm going to click OK. And there I've applied a border and shading only to that paragraph. If I want to apply a page border, you can see that with my page border, I can choose a lovely page border over here. I can make it an art page border, and I can decide in my options, do I want to apply to the whole document, this section, first page only, or all except the first page. So I'm just going to say whole document, click OK, and there I've applied a page border to my whole document. Now, how do I know it's the whole document? Well, if I go down, there you can see when I go to my next page, it's applied there as well. All right, so let's have a look. What's the next one? Communication modes. So with communication modes, let's see what do they want me to do. They want me to format all the headings using the quick style. So you can see over here under the home tab, I've got my style section, and here I can apply certain styles. And you can see these are quick styles because as I move my mouse pointer over it, I can actually see what that's going to be or how it's actually going to change. Now, what did they want me to do? They wanted me to, okay, just apply that. Well, let's look at modifying a style. So I'm going to go to book. In fact, let me use intents. Okay, so I'm going to highlight some text. In fact, I don't even have to. I'm just going to right click on a particular style, which in this case is intense reference. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to go modify. Now remember, a style, the reason they call it a style is because it's a combination of things like your font type, your font size, your bold, underline, your color. So all of that contributes, together makes it your style. Look, when you decide to go out in public and you are dressing up, you don't just put on a hat and say, okay, there we go, sorted, I've now got style. No, when someone says you have style, they are looking at you from top to bottom. How do the shoes complement the pants, the belt you're wearing, the color of the shirt, the type of shirt, whether you're wearing sunglasses, a hat, all those things together form what we know as your style. So it's the same over here. So I'm going to say, well, this one should have, I'm going to do something. Okay, let's go with Bradley. Let's go 24. Let's say it's got to be like red. It's got to be underlined as well. I can still go and add more items, but I'm just going to leave it as is. And I'm going to call it, I'm going to change the name and call it Intense New. And you can see I can also change what style it's based on. Okay, so I'm going to click OK, and you can see it changes over there. Now when I go to my heading, click on that, and I select intents, you can see it's going to apply that. So that's how I've been able to apply normal styles and to modify an existing style as well. Okay, I hope that helps. Okay, you can see I can remove, rename. Yeah, I can do those things. Okay, so that's 3.2 done. 3.3, okay, we know how to copy and paste. The next one was find and replace. Okay, so I'm going to use, let's see, let's open the document. Teachers. Guys, please let me know if everyone is still okay. You are still with me. And I'm going to go to teachers. Okay, so under the home tab, we've got this section over here that deals with editing, and I've got find. You can see when I click on find, and please remember now I'm using Office 2019. Now you might be using something different, so you just have to check where everything is for you. And if I type in miss, it'll give me all the items that match. Okay, so that's fine. However, they want me to look at find and replace. So when I click on replace, I now get a dialog box, and I can still do my find over here, and I can do my replace, because now, oh, okay, Bongiwe, thank you. We are watching you live from Hillgrove Secondary, 12A and B. Well, let's give a big shout out to Hillgrove Secondary. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm glad you're enjoying the session so far, and I'm happy to have you here. Okay, so let me just finish this quickly before I deal with Bonelo's question. So we can now find, right? The biggest thing here is not just a find, but replace. So let's say I want to find miss, and I want to replace it with misses. I mean, that's fine. It's normal. I can say, replace all. That's fine. But what if I want to do something more? What if they're asking me to do more? Then I'm going to click on more. And I'm going to go down here. And here you can see when I'm looking for something, I can select any of these options, whether I want to find the whole word or match the case. These are my searching options. Okay, this is what I use when I'm looking to find something that I want to replace. The bottom section deals with me replacing something. So if I click on format here and I go to font and I say bold, size 14, and let's choose, let's choose red. Do you see what's happening here? I'm going to find miss with no formatting. I want it replaced with misses that has font 14, bold, and red in color. Now, when I say replace or replace all, it tells me it's done it. And there you can see I've done a find and replace with all of these. All right. And it's not only replaced it, but it's replaced and formatted it. Okay. Let me just see this question to see if I need to write this down. Can you please do the one where we have to make a single paragraph into two? Okay. Okay. So that's the 2 columns. Yeah, no, that's simple. No hassle. No hassle. Okay. So are we okay with find and replace? Just know we're going over here, and let's say now you can see if I use, if I highlight misses now, and I say replace, and let's say I want to replace it with what can I put here? I always have fun with these things. Or I try to have. And I want no formatting, so I'm going to change all of that back. And I do that, and I replace all 19, and you can see there they've made the changes as well. So old Mrs. Durbach over here has become no name Durbach. All right, let me write down tabs. Yes, we will be dealing with that as well. Okay, so let's close that up. Find and replace. We are now fine. I'm sure spelling, checking the spelling, grammar, that we're all okay with. Let's go on. Okay. Now, one other thing you can also mess around with that they sometimes ask you for are the automatic editing options. So if we go to File and we go to Options and we go to, let's see, our autocorrect options. We go to our proofing here, autocorrect options. These are options that we have if we want to customize Word, right? We want, I mean, obviously we're dealing with American English, and we are speaking a South African English. And I joke like this, but guys, when we do HTML, you know that we need to speak in American. Okay, we need to speak in American. So here you can see these are our autocorrect options, and you can see here some of them are already ticked. So this is where you change any of your automatic editing settings. So let's say you want to add something. You can see here, if I type in that shortcut, that's what it's going to give me. I can go and add things here. So there, for example, there's LOEV, and it will automatically replace it with love. So this is where you put in, let's say if the person types in that, it must actually display Mrs. Right? I can then add that, and when somebody types that in, it will auto-correct it to that. Okay, so that's our automatic editing options. Let me see. I just want to make sure that I'm covering everything. Okay, let me just deal with one or two questions here quickly. Okay, so you're asking about replacing with a symbol. So if I go find replace and I say I want you to find dough and I want to replace it with, then remember I can go more, and let's see under formatting, no, under special, I've got different things that I can insert here. This is what I wanted to actually touch on. This is why I'm here. The M dash and N dash. Okay, grade 10s, they do ask you to do this. Okay, that is something that they do ask you to do. I just want to check something here quickly. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, so we know I'm just going to put in, I'm just going to leave that like that. I'm going to go replace, and I'm going to go with my M dash. Oh goodness, I want to replace dough with an M dash. No man, I'm not clicking in the right area. M dash, and I'm going to go replace all, and you'll see what it's done. Okay, now I'm going to replace, let's go with the word to, and we're going to go with an N dash. I'm going to replace that, and that's fine. Okay, now I want to zoom in so you can see the difference between the M dash and the N dash. When I say M, the M dash, let's just delete everything else. That's one of the things that they always ask. And the N dash. Okay, you can see the size difference between the two. Okay, so please, that is where we are going to throw in, I'm actually glad I touched on that, the N dash and M dash. Just want to close this. I want to get some text here. I just want to deal with columns quickly. So here I've got some text, I've got some paragraphs, and I'm going to highlight this entire paragraph over here. So when I go up to my tabs and I go into insert, do I see anything with regards to columns over here? No, I don't. My design, no. My layout, that's where I'm going to find it. Okay. So remember, this is now inserting columns. So I don't go to insert, I go to layout. Then I'm going to go to columns. And you can see I've got different options, 1, 2, 3, left and right, and that's fine. But usually they'll ask you to insert a column, put a line, in between them, and for the grade 11s and 12s, they'll ask you to insert column breaks. So let's just look at all of that quickly. I'm going to click on more columns. There's my dialog box that comes up, and I can go 1, 2, or 3. In this case, I'm just going to use 2. Number of columns 2. Do I want a line in between? Yes, I do. And I click OK. All right, everything looks fine, right? I've created 2 columns. I've put in my line in between. Everybody's happy, except the teacher. Now, why? Because you were also asked to make sure, right? To make sure that you adjust the width and spacing. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to say, okay, I still want 2 columns. Can you see that this gets adjusted automatically? Can you see that? Now, if you want to adjust your column width yourself, you can take the equal tick out, and then you can go and adjust that yourself. Okay. You can also say apply to selected text or the whole document, but that's fine. I'm going to leave it as is. And let's just go. Yeah, I forgot my line in between. Okay. But now the teacher's saying, no, man, we need, or maybe the question paper is saying that this section needs to start at the top of that column, right? So we still want 2 columns, but we want this text to move over to the next side. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to click where I want to insert a column break. And if I go under columns, do I find it there? No. You'll see next to it I've got breaks. And I've got a page break, a column break, text wrapping, section breaks. But this is what I'm looking for, a column break. So I'm going to click on column, and there you can see it's moved it from the first column to the top of the next column. This is what they'll usually tell you in the question paper, that they want you to move that text over. So those columns are then fine. Okay. Yeah, I think that sorts that out. Let's see. There's something else I wanted to touch on. Please tell me what's the difference between these quotes and these ones over here. So what's the difference between the single quotation mark and the double quotation mark there? Where's everyone? Please remember that these are, you get what they call your straight quotes and your smart quotes. So please make sure that you are using the correct one. They'll tell you that they want, for example, straight quotes, or they want your smart quotes. Okay, these are the quotation marks. Please, please, please. This will usually be when someone is speaking, and this will be when you're referring to something like, let's say you're talking in maths about like 1 inch. So you'll be typing it in those quotes. So please just remember the difference between that. Okay, so that basically finishes that. We're now in 3.4. We're looking at adding graphics. Really, the only thing, let me just open picture formatting. Whoa. Okay, so the main thing to know when it comes to pictures, guys, is the fact that we've got our format toolbar that opens here on top. We can crop our pictures. We can change the position with our text wrapping. We can wrap our text, which means our text is wrapped around our picture or through our picture, or our text goes behind or at the top or bottom, whichever one we need to do. What's important here, the only thing I'm really going to highlight is this section with size. One of the things they always ask you to do is to resize a picture to a particular size. Now, have a look at this. This says 6,6 and 1404. So when I resize it, do you see that that changes, right? But what if they ask you to insert a picture and to have it as 5 centimeters by, or 8 centimeters by 8 centimeters? If I type in there and I go 8 and I go 8 over here, do you see what happens? Okay, so what do I have to do? I've got to go to my advanced layout. I've got to take the tick out of lock aspect ratio and click OK. Now I can go back in here and I can say 8 by 8, and there you can see it will change that. No matter what I put in, if I put in 25 over here, it will adjust it will adjust to that. So please remember, you need to take the tick out of lock aspect ratio. Okay, I think we're all fine with, I mean, shapes should be fine. Let's see what else we want to insert. We can also insert word art. All right, they'll obviously tell us what we need to do. Okay. All right, so on our pictures, let's say we have these 3 pictures or these 2 pictures over here, and I want to bring those pictures together. I want to now say, okay, well, let's first sort out our position, where we want the pictures to be, whatever you want to do. But I want to actually move these pictures as one, or I want to actually group them. Okay, so remember with your shapes, when I inserted a shape, I'm just going to use any shape now, and I went and I put in another shape. I could group those by just selecting them, right clicking on them and saying group and group, and there you can see it would change as one, and now I would move it as one item. I could right click on it and say group ungroup as well, and then I can move them as individuals. So let me just do it with that. You can see there I can group that, and now those two have been grouped together. Okay, so I can still decide over here, you'll see how I want it aligned and wrapped according to the text that I have. Obviously I don't have text, a lot of text here, but that's basically where you'd end up doing that. Okay, let me see. Okay, so let's get rid of that. And I'm just going to pop in some word art over here. Now, once I put in word art, you can see that I have a whole lot of options that open up. I can pop in things into, change the fill, the outline. Okay, automatic hyphenation. I will check that as well. We've got shape effects, and you've got different things that you can do with your word art, but this is where you would enter that. Okay, so that's word art. Our page background, we did look at that already, but I'm just going to touch on that again. Remember I said to you under your design tab, here you can insert a watermark. Now remember, these are default watermarks. If you want anything else, you're going to have to go to custom watermark, and you can then say no watermark. You can insert a picture as a watermark and wash it out, which means it's like sort of grayscale. So it's like very faint, so you don't really see it much. Or you can put in a customized text watermark according to what you need it to be. Guys, again, you need to read the question to know what you need to do, but just know where to go firstly. I can then also change the page color, and you can see that I can do over there. And then obviously my page border, we've been here already. That's where I do that. Okay, so that's just my page background, watermark. Next one is smart art. So let me use an example that they want. Open the document, smart art. So remember now with our smart art like this, I can go and decide. Remember when I click on that, you can see I've got smart art tools that pops up with my design and format, and I can go and customize that over there. Right? However, if I want to insert new smart art, where am I going to go to? Insert. There I've got my illustrations, smart art. Okay? And then I can customize it, and I can, choose whatever I want. So let's say I'm going to take my vertical list box over here. Ricardo, in order to have a different watermark on each page, what you'd have to do is actually use section breaks. So you'd have to break each page up so that you can actually format each page individually. It's the same thing we do when we say we want one page to appear in landscape and another page or the rest of the document like to appear in portrait. We have to put in section breaks so we can do individual formatting for that particular page. Now bear in mind here, I've inserted smart art. Over here, I can change the style of my smart art. I can change the colors over here. I've got different layouts that I can change it to as well. And if I need to delete anything, I can do that. I can also add a shape, but everything is here. Okay, so this is just messing around with our smart art just to remind you about that. Okay, next lot dealt with bullets and numbered lists. So let's open the document essential. Oh, that's 3.5 already. Wow. Okay, and now recycling paper. Right, so they want us to pop in some bullets over here. So for example, they want us to turn this into a bulleted list. So what we're going to do first of all is just get it into the sort of order we want. And then from there, I'm going to go up. I'm going to go over to my bullets, and then I'm going to pop in the, whichever bullet I want. Again, these are defaults, right? Now, they won't ask you just to do that. because that's just too easy. So what are they going to do? They're going to ask you to pop in a new bullet, and usually they'll give you a picture. So I'm going to go define new bullet. I can choose the alignment. I can choose whether I want it to be a symbol. So I can use a symbol over here and say, well, that's what I want for my bullet. I can choose it to be a picture as well. So here I can go and browse for a particular picture. That will then become my bullet. And I can then also mess around with the fonts of that. So all of this is done over here. I click OK. And there you can see I've done my bulleted list. And I can change that into either a symbol or a picture as well. All right. So let's see what else we can do. Yeah, I think that's really it on the bullets. We can change the list level. Now, when we talk about levels, I'll show you the difference here. Change list level. You'll see as we move forward, if we go to the next level, in other words, if my bullet is over here, and let's say I've got tissue paper and I want to move tissue paper over to that level, and the next one over here, and this one over there, you can see depending on the level that it's on, and I've just used the tab key, that bullet will change. So if I go now and I highlight everything, and I go up to my bullets, and I can go over there, and I can actually go and change those bullets to say, no, I don't want that listing to be like that, or I don't want that bullet to look like that. But you can see that it changes according to that level. Grade 12s, that is important when it comes to creating lists in Word. Okay, the next one. Let's open up. They wanted us to open up donors, places. Okay, so basically we want to be looking at tabs. Okay, now first of all, when we deal with our tabs, we can go to paragraphs over here. We can go over to tabs, and we can put tab positions or tab stop positions in place. Now at the moment you don't see anything on your ruler, okay? But if I go to my advanced options over here and I go to tabs, I can put in a tab stop position. Let's say I'm going to put one in at 1 centimeter, and I'm going to make it an alignment to the left. The leader is, in other words, what is in between the one stop to the other, and you'll see when I set that and I click OK, you can see there's my first tab stop, right? So when I press tab, it's going to move over there. And you can see when I press tab, it just moves over by 1 centimeter, so that's fine. So I'm going to put in John over here. Now I'm going to go back, and I'm going to put in another tab stop, and I'm going to put one in, let's say at, let's go 5 centimeters. We're going to make it to the right. We're going to put in a leader. We're going to say set, and we're going to click OK. Do you see, first of all, what happens up here? I've got one to the left. I've got one to the right. So now, do you see the leader that's there? If I go John and I type in the next name, do you see also that the text is coming in from that side? Okay, from that right-hand side, right? Now when I click tab, it's just as per normal because my tab stops are only there. I can insert another one, etc. But this is where I would go to pop in all my tab stops, see to the alignment and the leaders in between them as well. And I can also just go and clear everything, and you'll see all that disappears. Okay, so that's the basics that they really want you to know as far as tab stops, and you can just play around with that. We've done indenting, we've looked at our ruler. Headers and page footers. Let's just get rid of that. So we've looked at the insert tab and the page number. We've also got our headers and footers. Okay, now this is where things get a little bit interesting, tricky, or whichever way you want to mention it. Let's go with the header. We're going to insert a header, and I'm just going to use, I don't know, let's just use any one. Let's use this header over here. Again, you see the same options opening, right? So that's fine. I go down to my document, and I'm just going to have a couple of pages, and you can see that in my header, it's counting the number of pages I have. And let's go back. We're now going to go with a footer, and I'm going to insert a footer on the left side. I'm just going to type in my doc, say close, and you'll see throughout the document I've got my footer, I've got my header. That's all fine. Then I'm also going to insert a page number at the bottom of the page on the right hand side. Close that, and now you can see for each page I've got a header, I've got my page number as well, okay, and my footer's now disappeared simply because I've got my page number in there. So please take that into consideration. Now the reason I'm doing this is because okay, no problem, Ricardo. The reason I'm doing this is because sometimes they'll ask you to pop in page numbers starting from page number 2. Okay? So the first thing you're going to do is just insert your page numbers. Then the next thing that you are going to do is, this is page number 1. Okay? So the next thing you want to do is you want to go and insert a section break. And I want you to play around with this because you need to get this right. Okay? We're going to insert our section break. Put it at the end of the first page. Let me put my paragraph markings on so I know that is the end. And then I'm going to go over here and insert my section break. So now what should happen is I want the section break to isolate this particular page. Okay? And I hope you're just going to bear with me. All right? So I've put in a section break. In fact, let me just remove that second one. And now, whoa, what's happened to my screen here? Okay. So now that I've got my section break in place, it's basically isolating this first page. Okay, let me just get that right. So I've got my document, I've got a few pages, I've put in a section break at the end of the first page to isolate the first page from the others. Now, what I'm then going to do is I'm going to go into my footer, and what I should then be able to do with my page number, I should be able to remove my page numbers. So let's see what that does. Okay, so if it's done incorrectly, it's going to just remove everything. So let me just get rid of this. And let's go over here. Okay. Oh, I'm messing this thing up. This is what happens. Okay. So let's go to our first page. Let's go to the end of our first page. We go on to our second one. And we're going to insert now our section break. We just want to make sure that it is there. Okay, so it is there. I've now got my second page. And in my second page, I'm going to go insert, and I'm going to go to my page number. I'm going to insert my page number, bottom of the page, close that. That's fine. Okay. So now I've got one page And you can see 1, 2, 3. I don't know why it's doing that. Yeah. So now this is important because when I go in here, I need to take this link to previous if I want the first page to be separate from everything else. Okay? Because what it's going to do is it's going to keep linking to that first page. So when I go to page number 2, this is page number 2 over here, and I want to see that is fine. Why am I confusing myself here now? It's not. No, man. Okay. So I can pop in different first page. That's fine. No, man. Something's gone wrong with this document here. Wait. My apologies, guys. Let me just get rid of everything here. Let me just get rid of everything here and just get a brand new document. Okay, so here we've got our document, and I'm going to go page 1, 2, what's it? 2, I need to go about 3, 4 pages. Yeah, I think four pages will do. I'm then going to insert. I'm going to go with my page numbers over there. So I've got page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. That's fine. Everything is good. And now I want to, I'm going to insert, and that section break doesn't seem to be working. I'm going to insert a page break. Let's see, is that in? That is in. Now I'm going to go to my page number, and that is all fine. But now I want to remove this one. Calculation, let me just write that down. Calculations in Word doc. Okay. Yeah, this is not working because this thing is grayed out here. Okay, I'm gonna have to come back to that. I don't know why it's giving me some issues here. Let me just write that down. What was that? Page numbers. Page numbers. Start at different page. Okay, cool. Right. Let me just see. I think that's really the only thing there that we still need to do, and then just tables in Word. I mean, what's going on here now? Yeah, I'm just checking here what I still need to do. Sure, we're gonna run out of time. Okay. I think we are actually gonna end up running out of time at the rate we're going. Okay, I'm just gonna move on to this quickly, and then I think what's actually gonna work best, I'm now going to breeze through a lot of this stuff, so that we can actually get to some of the more complicated things in Excel and Access as well. So please do let me know in the chat if there's specific things you want me to go through, because I can see time-wise it's actually not. I really thought 3 hours would be enough, but clearly not. Okay, so remember, we can insert tables. We can change the design, the style of the table. We can highlight a column, and we can even delete that particular column. We can apply shading to a particular cell or to everything within. And I can also, when I'm here, I can insert certain totals as well. So here you can see is my button for formula. So let's say for argument's sake, I had those numbers over there and I popped in a formula. This is where it would display. I can then say what type of number format I want as well, whether it's percentage or just normal. And I should be able to click OK, and there you see it will add those up for me. Okay. Now, granted, Word will do basic functions. So your min, max, sum, average, those type of things. The more complicated ones which we use in Excel, it's not really going to have those features there. So also you can see we can merge cells. We can also take a cell and we can split those cells according to what we want or what we need. Those are all the different things that we can do there. And then this was the other one. When I want to save my document, remember I said to you, we've got these options over here. So if I go tools and I go save options, you can see then some of the options that I have here. And again, they might ask you to do something. They might not, but you just need to know that these options are here. Some of the other ones are your general options. And this is where I can specify a password to open my document and a password to modify the document, or I can make it read only. It just depends on what they actually want. Usually it'll just be a password to open the actual document. So let's say I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then to modify also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I say okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I say save it to the desktop. And that's the 25. Sorry, wrong desktop. And I want to open this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so there I've applied now a password to not only open my document, but also to open or a password to modify that as well. Okay, so that's basically it for Word. I'm going to give you guys just a 2-3 minute break because I need to go to the bathroom myself. And then we're going to come back and we're going to look at the infamous Excel spreadsheets. So I'll see you in, say, 2-3 minutes. Right, folks, so we are back. We're looking at spreadsheets now. So at this point, look, I'm assuming everyone knows the basics of how to work with their spreadsheets, how to work with their formulas, the formatting. Please just remember your cell referencing. Okay, also when it comes to text that's too large for a particular cell, you do just want to make sure and remember that you can adjust it either by dragging it or by double clicking on this and just automatically adjusting to that particular size. The formatting, here's another one. When it comes to cell phone numbers or any number starting with 0, Excel doesn't really read the 0. So you can either go to format cells and just change that to text, or you can just go up here and just change that to text as well. You will have to type the number in again, and then that will be fine. Okay, so those are just some of the basic things when it comes to the sort of text here as well. Let's say I want to increase the size of that. I adjust it. I've got different options. You'll see this is the same as Word, but on my alignment, I can also align, but now I've got horizontal and vertical alignment. So one of the things they often ask you to do is to align horizontally and vertically. I can also change the direction of my text, again, depending on what they want. This is generally in the grade 10 and 11 area that they'll still ask you to do that. Okay, then I've got different formulas, and by now I'm just gonna use a few. So my min is going to give me the smallest amount in a range. My max is going to give me the largest amount in that range. Sum is going to, and you see I always start with equals, it's going to add up all the items in that range. And then average is the only one that I actually have to type out the full word. It's going to give me the average of those items. Now, I want to touch on this for grade 12s particularly. We are now going with average. Okay, so let's say they want me to work out the average of these numbers and round it off to 0 decimal items. Okay, now your normal round function would be like equals, round, open your bracket, pop in a cell reference. I'm just going to use any one, and you would say to how many digits you want it rounded off. Okay, so I'm just going to use that. That is our round formula. This over here is our average formula. So I'm going to put it in here, equals average, enter. That's our average formula. That's our round formula. So now I need to put the two together. And this is important because you're going to use this for things like concatenating, and those type of items. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to start off with round. And what did I have with my round formula? I had a bracket where I have my cell reference. I'm going to now have the average formula. I'm then going to put in my comma or my semicolon as I usually do, say 0, and that will give me an answer of 53. And you can see I've taken the two formulas and I've put them together, but I haven't changed the structure of my main formula, which is round. Okay, average with this range is still going to give me an answer, but whatever that answer is, it's going to be rounded off to 0 decimal places. Okay, types of data, currency, we will go through that. Okay, we should be fine with autofill, so I'm not going to worry with autofill. Our calculations. Here's one. When it comes to working out certain things, so for example, I've got a VAT amount of 15%, and I've got these totals, and I want to put in a formula that's going to work out the totals over here, total including VAT. Okay, that is what I want. So if I go equals and I say I want to take whatever is in that cell, and this is why we use cell references, and I want to multiply it by whatever is in this cell, you know, it's fine. I'm now getting my 15%. Remember, this is the 15% of this. It's not my total including VAT. I'm going to get there. However, when I autofill, what happens? It comes up with 0. Now, why is that? Look at the formula. C2, G2. C3, G3. Do you see how it's moving down? So what do I have to put in? I've got to put in my dollar signs, which is known as absolute cell referencing, which means I always want to refer to that particular cell. So if I go here now and I do the autofill, what's it going to be? Let's see. Sorry, it hasn't kept that. That's there. I'm going to autofill that, and that should now change because of the absolute cell referencing. Now, obviously I would need to change this formula to include the total, and I mean I can do it in a few ways by just popping that in there and saying, well, we're going to add it to the original amount again, and that will give me my total including VAT. Okay, so you can see what I've done there. The main thing that I'm focusing on is the autofill with your absolute cell referencing, because this is something that is important and it does come up. Grade 10s, you would need to know your different errors when it comes to Excel. You need to know that for practical and theory as well. Okay, next lot. So over here, I can use a formula like count blank, and count A. And we'll see what they do. If I go equals count, open bracket, and I highlight all of this, I hit enter, it's giving me an answer of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But why is it only counting 6? Well, let's have a look at count A. Count A. Highlight all of this, and now I'm getting 7. What's the one item that's different? It's the text. So count, and you can see even when I delete it, only count A changes. So count counts the number of cells that have numbers in them. Count A counts the number of cells that have numbers and text in them. And equals count blank will count the number of cells that have nothing in them. In this case 0, but if I delete that, it will give me an answer of 1. Okay, so I've got count A, count blank. Now let's go to computer game, because now we're going to look at count if. Where is this thing now? That is module 4.3. Right, so this is a typical one that comes up asking me to count if a criteria matches. Now guys, this is where it starts to get very simple. Okay, so I want the number of female participants. I'm going to click in the cell. I'm going to go to insert, formulas, insert function, and I'm going to go to count if. Right, if you don't see it, just type in count if. Click go, it should come up. And I use this, and I always tell my students to use this because it's the simplest way to go. What is the range? What do I want, or where do I want Excel to go and check to count the number of female students? Over here in gender, in that range. So I've highlighted my range, and there you can see my answers. Now, what is the criteria? In other words, what am I looking for in that range that I want Excel to count. I want it to count the number of females, or the Fs. And I'm going to click OK, and it gives me 2. For the males, I'm going to go the same route. Count if. Same range. My criteria. Male. I'm going to click OK. It's going to give me my same answer. So for the grade 12s, you're going to have the same story happening. Sorry. Only now, number of grade 12s, the range is going to be different. The criteria is going to be 12. So I'm going to say OK. And there's my answer. The only one I want to really touch on is the number of scores above 7,000. So I'm going to use the same principle. Count if. I'm going to go to my range. And please, when they say above 7,000, it does not include 7,000. Therefore, it will be greater than 7,000. Now, if they say number of scores of 7,000 and above, then you'll put greater than and equals to 7,000. But in this case, we just want the ones that are greater than 7,000. Okay, so that is count if. Okay, just please, as I'm going through, let me know in the comments if you are okay with those particular items. Then we have rand and rand between. Now the difference between these two is the fact that equals rand is going to give me, sorry, let me just zoom in there. Equals rand is just going to give me a random number between 0 and 1. And you can see it's just giving me between 0 and 1. Whereas rand between, if I go equals rand between, and I say between, let's say 1 and 5, it's going to give me a random number between 1 and 5. But I want you to have a look at this. Does it include 1 and 5? Yes, it does. So just understand, if I want a random number between 6 and 10, it's going to include 6 and it's going to include 10. Now, what if I don't want that? Then my rand between will have to be 7 and 9. Now, that might sound weird to do it that way. But look at the random number. Am I getting a random number between 6 and 10? Yes. Does it include 6 and 10? No, it doesn't. Okay? So bear that in mind when we deal with rand and rand between. Okay. The next one's mode, median, today, and now. So when it comes to mode, if I go equals mode, and I'm just going to use these scores as reference here, mode is going to return the value that occurs most frequently in a range. Now you can see I haven't got any numbers that are the same. So let's just change this to 6589, and you can see because it's now occurred more than once, this number is the most frequent one that occurs within the range. Okay? If I look at my median, what does that do? It says it returns the number in the middle of a set of sorted records. I'm just going to use these, and there it's giving me the number that is more or less in the middle of the sorted records. In other words, I would need to sort this, in ascending order. Okay, so that's what our median does. Then the big ones, today and now. Have a look at this. If I go equals today and I go equals now, guys, we can see the difference. Equals today will update automatically, but it will only give me the date. Equals now will give me the date and time. Now I want to add this. Both update automatically, okay? But what if I want the date to display in a different way? Well, I can simply click on that cell and I can do one of two things. I can go up here and see if there's any options like I did before. But if there's nothing, you can see I can change it here to long date. that will still update automatically. Or if I wanted to display in a particular way, I'll have to go to Format Cells, I'll have to go to Date, see what's there. If I'm still not happy and I want something custom, then I'll have to go to Custom. And I'll then have to type in for myself how I want it displayed over here. So please bear that in mind when it does come to your questions in the papers in terms of what they want from you. Okay, but that's how you can do that. And you can see I haven't changed anything on the formula. I did the formula first and then I went to do my formatting. Let's see, what else? Okay, we've got our normal margins, orientation that we can change. We can change the size as well. We know about that. If we go back to our, let's see, where am I? You can also, when I change the page layout tab, you'll see what the pages look like. This also allows me to add a header, and it allows me to add a footer. Okay, Carlton, yes, the nested if. No problem, I'll get there. Okay, so there I can add in my headers and footers, and I can go and type in a footer that I want over there, a header there as well, and then I can go back to my normal document or my normal spreadsheet. Okay, so that's fine. Let's see. I think that's basically it over there. I'm just checking. Yeah, those are the main things. I don't know if they wanted me to do PowerPoint, but okay, I'm going to leave that there with the grade 10s. I'm going to move on to the grade 11 and then grade 12 work. So in the grade 11 section, they start with working with files, editing documents. Is basically the same that we've done in grade 10. And the only thing, okay, we've done the numbering and the bullets. So that's all fine. The only thing, I just want to go back to is your table of contents and that. But let's stick to Excel. Let's get to see what we need to do. Okay, so module 4.1 just revised on your skills again, making sure you remember everything. And then they started with some calculations, and I just dealt with round. Also remember large and small. Okay, so I'm just going to delete these. If you look at max and we look at small and we look at min, I want you to see, I want you to see if there's any difference between these two formulas, because I don't see any difference, and I'll tell you why. When I am dealing with this, you'll see it gives me the same answer. Okay, it gives me exactly the same answer. Ricardo, I'm just making a note of that. Indexes. Yeah, guys, if I don't get to everything, I'm going to try and make extra videos on this stuff. So that's why it is important that you do put everything in the comments for me. So if I don't get to it, then I can always do something extra for you over the weekend and just pop that up on the channel. Okay, so large, max, small, and min are giving me the same answer, but why? Because when I look at the formula equals large and I identify the range, I either need to tell Excel, and I know it sounds horrible in English, but I need to indicate the number one largest number in that range. Okay, and it gives me that number. Now max does that as well. So if you are asked to give the largest number in a range and you use equals large or you use equals max, it doesn't matter. Same with the smallest number. The difference comes in when we need to get the third largest number. We need to get the second smallest number in a range, then it does play a role. Okay, so that's just the difference there between large and small. Also in a range, so I'm going to use this range over here. Let's see, yeah. We have our subtotal feature. Okay, so they might at some point ask you to do the subtotal. I must actually see if I got an example of a document here. Okay, I do. 4.2. Okay, that's grade 11 now. Let me just get the grade 11 data. Yolanda, HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP, yes. I will do that. Guys, just as a matter of interest, for those doing the IEB, you might even get the XLOOKUP. Now, I can't show you on here what the XLOOKUP looks like because at this point it only works on Office 365. So I have done a video on it, explain it and showing it to you on Office 365. So you definitely want to go and have a look at that because that will sort that out. Okay, now just while this is copying over, HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP. HLOOKUP is your horizontal lookup and VLOOKUP is your vertical lookup. And when we do it, you'll see the difference between the two. But let me just finish this off quickly. This was the subtotal feature. And this was looking at the Spring Festival. Right, so they basically wanted me to go through this, go to my data tab, go to subtotal, and then go and create subtotals for like each grade. So you can see where I went to data subtotal at each change in what? At each change in a grade, what function must I use? And I've got a number of functions to use. I'm just going to use the sum function, add the subtotal to the grade. Let's just use it like that and click OK. And you can see how that then changes everything. Okay, I've got a subtotal for the grade 9s, for the grade 10s, for the grade 8s. And really all I've done was just highlight my area, go to data, subtotal, and follow the instructions. Okay, whatever the question paper is asking me to do, everything is here. Okay, next one is SUMIF. So let's open this one. This is office expenses. Okay, so here we have our spreadsheet: dates, shop, item, amount, payment method. And what do they want us to do? They want us to enter the expenses and determine the total expenses for March for each of the following items. So for milk, now if I'm going to use SUMIF, what am I essentially saying? I want Excel to go and check in this area, find milk, right? And if it finds that, it must then add up amounts in a different area. So I'm going to click in my cell over there. I'm going to go up to formulas, insert function, and I'm going to go to SUMIF. Now, do you see how easy this is? I'm going to select my range. What is my criteria? My criteria is milk. Okay. Once it finds that, what must it go and add up? It must add up the amounts. Pop it in there. There's my answer already. And I click OK. Guys, it is as easy as that. I'm going to write that down as well. Concatenate. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do T. Have a look at the strategy I'm using. And you can see I haven't typed anything out. Nothing. Okay. Insert function. You remember, you only have 3 hours to do this paper. So I can't be typing out a whole lot of formulas. I'm going to go T. Insert function. SUMIF. Highlight my range. What is my criteria? My criteria is T. Where's my sum range? There's my sum range. Click OK. I'm done. Rooibos T. What am I going to do? Insert function. SUMIF. Get my first range. What is my criteria? Rooibos T. What is the sum range? This over here. Click OK. Done. Tell me something. How long does it take you to do a SUMIF formula? This is why I advise my kids to do it this way. Because it is so much simpler. I'm still using the same rules, going the same route. But here it is helping me that I don't have to type out all of this and get a comma wrong or things like that. Okay? I hope you're all with me. So let's jump into something quickly. Old concatenate. So what does concatenate do? Concatenate joins things together. All right. So let's see if I've got John Brown 1902. Okay. So let's see if we've got a formula to go with that. Have we got concatenate? Yes. So what's concatenate saying to us? And again, here we go. I want to take John, and I want to join it to Brown, and I want to join it to 1902. And when you've got what you want, there's your answer. Click OK. Boom. Concatenate done. Concatenate done. Now, Ricardo, yes, you know what? You can, when you are in this formula, you don't have to put in T. You can click on the cell reference as well. It's also fine, right? Whatever you want to do, whichever way is best, it'll be fine. Do you see how quick I did that concatenate, right? So the concatenate itself is fine. That's never been the issue. I know what the issue is. So with this formula, if I go equals left, what am I saying? From the left side of whatever is in this cell, I want the first 2 characters. From the right side of that cell, I want the last 2 characters. Okay? So when it comes to concatenate, they usually want us to create a code, and they'll tell us, well, we want you to create a code based on, let's say, the first 3 letters. Let's take the last letter from this one, and we're going to take the first 2 numbers from this one. And we want to create a code around that. Okay? Now, the first thing I would usually advise you to do is do the concatenate. Just do the concatenate first. The reason for that is you are going to get marks for that. So me to go in insert function, concatenate, and I'm joining that one to that one to that one. Whoa, that one. Sorry, I'm working too fast here. Okay, it's going to give me that. Now, what am I going to get? I'm going to get a mark for concatenate. I might get one mark for the cell references as well. Not each one, but as a collective. Okay. Now, this is where you just need to pay attention. From B5, which is this cell over here, what is it I want? I want the first three letters. How am I going to do that? How would I usually do that? I would go left, open bracket, B5, put in my comma or semicolon and say the first three. I'm going to hit enter. Is that working? Yes, it is working. Okay, let's go back into the formula. Let's do the next one. What do I want from C5? I want the last letter. So, what am I going to do now? Am I going to do this? Right, C5, and I want the last letter from that. Do you see where I am? I go to the next one, and now I say I want the first two numbers, left, open bracket, the first two numbers, what have I done? Yeah, no, I'm right. Okay, so there you go. There's my massive concatenate done in less than 5 minutes, in less than 3 minutes, and it's finished. And I'm going to get my 1, 2, 3, 4, probably about 4, somewhere between 4 and 6 marks that you'll get for this. Done. Okay, so please don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. Okay. That's our concatenate, that's our subtotal, our errors. Okay. Let me just check in the grade 12 book quickly, then I can finish up Excel. Because I know Access is going to take probably the bulk of the time once I'm done here. Let's have a look. Okay, so we've done sum if, count if, VLOOKUP. Okay, here we go. So VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. That is module, still 4.2, and we're going to go with courses. I'm in grade 11 work now, okay. Import and export. Okay. Let me just get my grade 12 data. It's just copying over. Okay, so we're going to look at VLOOKUP, and then I'm going to look at HLOOKUP so that we can knock that out of the way as well. Okay, then I think that should be that with regards to most of the issues that pop up with Excel. Okay, 4.2. And we want to go with costs courses. Right. So with this, when we deal with VLOOKUP, we'll see that we've got information on the left side over here, and we've got info on the right side. Now, this is just a beginner because it can be on the same spreadsheet. It can be in different worksheets as well. So you just need to bear that in mind. Now, what do we want? We want the cost. We've got the name, we've got the cell number, the course, but we want to work out the cost. Is the cost there? Yes, it is. It is in a different range. All right? So we need to first of all look at, before we even get to the formula, look at what is similar between the two. Well, I've got the list of courses here and I've got the list of courses here. So these are the things that I'm going to be using to go. I'm going to use this to go and check in this area over here for the price. Similar to when we did our SUMIF. So I'm going to go up to formulas, insert function, VLOOKUP. So what is my lookup value? In other words, what's the value that I have that will also be found in this other section? And that is this cell, right? Beginner, is it found there? Yes, it is. Okay, so we're all happy with that. The table array is, where do I want Excel to go and check for this? Well, in this range over here. Okay, I wanted to take beginner and go match up beginner over here. Then once it's done that, which column do I actually want the information from? Do I want it from column 1? Remember, we don't start from 0. Do I want it from column 1 or column 2? Well, I do want it from column 2. And there you can see, there's my answer. There's my answer. And then there they tell me at the bottom, to find the closest match sorted in ascending order, I must go with true. But if I want an exact match, I must type in false. I click OK, and there's my 1,500. Now, if I do this, you can see with autofill, I can do it, but because the changes, I'm going to have some issues, right? So how am I going to fix that? I'm going to fix it by popping in my absolute cell referencing to make sure that it's always going to refer to that. Going to hit enter, and now when I do the autofill, that should sort it out. Okay, let's go and look at another one. Please let me know if that is okay for VLOOKUP. Here's another one. I've got the book code. I don't have the subjects. I don't have the cost. But I do have another sheet that's got the book code, subject, and cost. So what do I have that's in both of them? The book code, right? So let's go and work out the subject first. Formulas, insert function, VLOOKUP, and what's my lookup value going to be? Book code. First, once you've done that, then go click in table array. Please don't click anywhere else. And you need to be very careful here now. My table array is not going to be here, but it's going to be in the cost sheet. Then I'm going to go and highlight everything, and I want you to notice the following now. Do you see what that looks like? It's got cost with an exclamation mark. The reason for that is it's pointing to that particular sheet. So in that sheet, in that range, which columns worth of info do I want? And I want the subject. So it's 1, 2, 3. That means I must enter number 2. And there you can see there's my subject. I want an exact match, and I click OK. If I want the cost, I'm going to go the same route. Insert function, VLOOKUP, I can now use my book code or my subject. Table array, same table array. Column index number, I now want it from column number 3. I want an exact match, and there I've clicked OK. And guys, as simple as that, I've sorted out my VLOOKUP. Blessing the grade 10 final pracs. Your prac will be out of about 120, and your theory should be 100, because I know the grade 11s are 150 for prac and 120 for theory, and then the grade 12s are 150 for theory and 180 for their prac. Okay, so that's the VLOOKUP done. I just want to see, have they got an example here for H lookup? Or I'm going to quickly make my own. Okay, so let's just use this and see. Let's do an H lookup. Here's my H lookup. Does anything look different? No, it doesn't. Okay? It doesn't. So let's go and do the same. My lookup value, I've got my book code, my table array. Just bear with me. Just bear with me. I'm going to do exactly the same. Do exactly the same. And I'm going to show you the difference. Then I'm going to go to column index number. What did I want? That means I want column number 2. And I want an exact match. Okay, now it gives me an error. Now why is that? Because this is all listed vertically. Okay, if I do the following now. And I'm going to take that. Now just take those first 3. I hope you guys can see where I'm going with this. Now, I would have to change one thing here, and that would be my range. Okay, so let's go and let's just delete that, and let's change this code to AA297. So I'm going to do the same thing, insert function, HLOOKUP. I'm going to use that value. Now my table array, instead of highlighting this, I'm going to highlight this over here. And I'm then going to say, well, what do I want? I want to check the subject. Do you see I'm getting an answer? Do you see that? Boom. Okay, that's my HLOOKUP, because HLOOKUP looks at things horizontally. So that'll be column 1, that'll be column 2, that'll be column 3. The VLOOKUP looks at things in a vertical manner. Now, with your XLOOKUP, if it doesn't match anything from H and V, your XLOOKUP will then automatically, based on what you're putting in the formula, it will choose the next available item for you. So where HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP will give you an error, you can actually use an XLOOKUP to do whatever you want to do in VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, but if it doesn't work, then XLOOKUP will take the next available item there as well. So I hope that clears up now. HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP. Let me just see, I've made so much notes here. I've done the replace. Oh. I just want to, no. Okay, so just while I'm looking at my notes, the automatic hyphenation, please just remember you go to layout, hyphenation, and this is where you'll choose this, where it will automatically create hyphens where it needs to, but this is where you would select that to actually open that up. Okay, that's that. Okay, then let's go on to something interesting here. Where is it? Where is it? I love that document. Just don't know if they have it here. I think it's still in the grade 11 one. And that's for our nested ifs. Yeah, sure. I know it was try nested if. Let me just see if I can find it here. Data for learners. I know it's a very old spreadsheet. Okay, we'll just have to make our own. Okay, so let me go in here. Blessing, you'll just have to go through this again because I did indentation. I did that. Okay, so let's say, take this out. I have gold, silver, and bronze. All right, and in order for somebody to get gold, they would need somewhere between 800 and 1,000 points. If somebody was going to get silver, it would be from about 680 points up to 799, and then everything else is bronze. Okay, let's just pretend that. Now, please, and I'm going to say this very nicely, when we deal with if statements, and I think maybe let me just go over to the side here so you can see what I'm saying. When we deal with if statements, yeah, you can all see. Oh, that's not enough. When we deal with if statements, guys, I want you just to remember that an if statement is like three people being trapped in a room. Okay? Let's say, and I'm just going to use again the old examples I make. You as a guy, you are in a room and you have been trapped there with two girls. And you have no option. Like, you have to choose one. Okay? Okay, I'll adjust it. Sorry, the volume is just a bit low there. So let me just raise that. Okay, so that should then sort it. So when it now comes to our ifs, I want you to remember this. You are in a room. You are there with two others. So it's like you, there's two other girls in the room, and you have to leave with one of them. You have to leave with one of them. There's like nothing you can do about it. So you've got option A and you've got option B. Now, you have a criteria. And with that criteria, if option A matches the criteria, we are happy, we leave, it's over. Unfortunately, option B will stay in the room and that's where she'll remain. However, if option A does not match the criteria, then you have to take option B. Okay? So we will, with our if statements, we will always have a criteria. So let's say whatever is in cell A1 must equal 50. Then we will say what must happen if it matches the criteria. So then it must, let's say, display the word yes. And if not, it must display the word no. So please, there are three parts. Your criteria, what must happen if it matches, what must happen if it does not match. Are we together? Now, having said that, a nested if puts an if statement inside an if statement. Now, this is when you have multiple criteria. So, for example, and I want to see if I can maybe just zoom in a bit more. I don't want you to be up close in my face. It's fine. Okay. So here we've got an if statement, and we're saying if A1 is equal to 50, it must display yes. Okay? That's our criteria. That's what happens if it matches the criteria. Then, instead of me finishing up, I'm now going to open the next if statement and say, okay, well, if if A1, let's say now A1 is going to be equal to 40, then something else must happen. Okay? So it's an if statement inside an if statement. So let's go and type it out and let's check it out as we do this now. So this is usually what I'll have. If, oh yes, I still have to type in numbers. So let's type in 754, 658, 890, 869, 800, 714. And now I'm saying here, well, if in this particular cell, the number is greater than, no, the gold is 800 to, I'll have to go greater than or equal to 800. What must happen? It must display the word gold. Okay? If it doesn't, what must happen? Let's say we wanted to display the word silver. Okay? So let's just check on that, make sure that works. We can see that number does not equal 800, so it's going to display silver, right? But now we want to go further. So we've got our first section. This is what must happen. This is the criteria. This is what must happen if it matches the criteria. If it doesn't, we're going to go if again. That same cell, what is it? C3. If it is greater than or equal to 680, it must display silver. Now what have I got? I've got one criteria. If C3 is greater than or equal to 800, in other words, from 800 upwards, it must display gold. If it is, if it's got anything greater than or equal to 680, it must display silver. And for everything else, it must display the word bronze. Okay, so in this case, it's displaying silver. Let's see if we change it to 850. Gold. If we change it to 500, bronze. Guys, done. Done, done, done. Okay? So that is our nested if. It's an if within an if within an if. Okay? You will have multiple ifs depending on the amount of criteria. You'll see in this case, I had two ifs because I've got those two, and then what my third one is whatever else is left. So this is like being trapped in a room with three other people. Your criteria will make you choose one, the other two will have to remain. Okay? So I hope that sorts out nested ifs. Okay, I've done that. Okay, I just wanted to, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to jump. I'm gonna have to jump to access. Otherwise, time is going to catch me. Okay, what are the main things that you maybe struggle with regards to access? I think let's just go there. I'm looking for that one file I always have. It's that CD databases. Okay, reports. Beautiful. I'm going to be with you shortly. Let me just find my data. There we go. There we go. Listen, CD database is a great database to work with. Okay. Ricardo, are you referring to calculations in a query? I'll see how much I can get through. Okay, so here I have my table. And you'll see I've got tables, I've got queries, I've got forms, and I've got reports. So basically everything that I do is based off of these, right? It's based off of my table. And I've got my design view, I've got my data sheet view. And when I go into my design view, guys, and this is grade 11 and 12, the typical questions that come up. In fact, in the prelim, there was about 20 marks that dealt with just this section. Okay? So please get to know this. There's your primary key. There's our primary key. Please note that I can click on any one of these fields and I can actually move them around depending on what I need to do. One of the first things that they usually ask is relating to the input mask. Now, the input mask, and they will give you a tag sheet. Okay, so you don't need to remember everything, but just understand that the input mask is there to make sure that you only enter certain things. So for example, if I put that in, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It means that when the person enters in data, they will only be able to enter 10 digits into this area. That's all they will be able to enter. They won't be able to enter anything else. If you put in, for example, else, it means you are going to put in letters. So if the person's going to be typing in, let's say, license plate numbers, you put in an input mask like that, which basically means 3 letters, 3 numbers, and 3 letters again. I think let me use the magnifier so you guys can see. Okay, it might be a bit too big. Yeah, no, that's going to be too big. Okay, so that's one of the first things that we look at. The next one is the default value. Now, the default value means that if you don't enter anything into that cell, this is what is going to display over here. Okay, so if I put 0 as my default value, it means that even if the person doesn't enter anything, they can actually, or the 0 will display. Okay, the validation rule and text, please, these two work together. So a typical one would be something like creating one for gender and saying M or F. That's my rule. In other words, what must the person enter in the cell? They can only enter an M or an F. Now, if they enter anything else, you can type in anything else you want to, because that is the text that must then display if this does not, if they enter in anything other than M or F. Okay, so that's our input mask, that's our default value, our validation rule, and text. Required, this is something that also comes up. You put this in, or you change this to yes when you are forcing the person to enter something in that cell. So let's say they need to enter their email address and you say required. They won't be able to go on to the next cell until they've entered that particular item. Okay, so it is required. Another one is, and I think let me go here, is changing the data type. So obviously we know now where to change the data type, but when they want us to create a combo box, so let's go with genre, we can go to Lookup Wizard. Right? I'm going to open Lookup Wizard and it's going to give me two options. I want the lookup field to get the values from another table, or I want to type in my own values. So I'm going to type in my own values. I'm going to click next, and now I'm going to say rock. Oh goodness. R&B, club, house, gospel. Right? This is what I want there. I'm going to click next. I can put in a label if I want to as well, but I'm just going to say finish. Now, what's going to happen is, you see, that doesn't change, but when I click on lookup, I can see that I've got a combo box and everything that goes with it. So when I now go back to my table, and you can see there's gender, where is it, owner, no, genre. There are my options that I've created. So the person can now go and click on that. They can go here and they can choose whichever one they want to. Okay, so that's just in a very, very small nutshell what you need to know there. Then please remember, I'm just going to close this. We use our wizards to create queries, forms and reports. I'm just going to go through that quickly. Create query wizard. We always choose simple query. And you can then choose again based on whatever they're saying to you in the question paper. I want the artist, the owner, and the replacement value from that table. I'm going to click next. And generally it's just next. And I'm going to say my query new and click finish. And there, guys, you'll get a mark for doing that. Okay. I'm going to create a form. So I'm going to go to form wizard. You can see where form wizard takes me. I'm going to need to make sure that I'm basing it off of the table. I want the artist, CD name, genre, and the owner. Now this is where you're going to see a slight difference. They're going to ask me what type of layout do I want. If they don't specify, you leave it as is. I can then put in here my form new, click finish, and my form has been created. Done. I'm going to go to create, report wizard, same story, artist, CD name, genre, and owner. And this is in reports where things are very interesting. KFox for you. This is how we do our reports. In the wizard here, I can sort out my grouping already. So let's say they wanted me to create a report grouped on artist, then they wanted it grouped on genre, and then they wanted it grouped on owner. I would do all of that here and click next. Now when my report is done, my grouping is already sorted. I can also sort the records according to CD name, in ascending, whatever I want to do, or not, depending on what they're saying. I can change the layout. I do all of that in the wizard, guys. And then I'm going to indicate here my report new. Finish it. And there you can see I've created a report that's already got grouping. Okay, so let's quickly go back to the queries. If I go to query design, please remember inside my query, I've got my field, my table. I can sort my fields. I can take this tick out so that it doesn't show when I run my query. So now there's only 2 items. But remember, I haven't deleted it. I'm just not displaying it. And then here I've got a criteria as well. So let's go and create a calculated field. Let's go and do that. I know that's always the thing. Where's my one? Okay. Now, please just remember the following. When you are going to create a calculated field, I'm, for example, going to say replacement value, and I want to multiply that by 10, whatever's in there. I need to first of all type in the name of the new field. So I'm going to say new total. I put in my colon. I'm then going to open up my square brackets, because when we reference a field, we need to put in the square brackets and type the name of the field out exactly as is, square bracket there, multiplied by 10, and I'm going to run my query, and there you can see is my calculated field. Just like that, guys. This is the name of my new field. Here I've got my calculation where I'm saying whatever is in the field replacement value must be multiplied by 10. Okay. Who asked for that? Ricardo, is that clear? So please just remember to check that as you do it. Okay, then in your forms, just a few things that I want to touch on is the fact that they will ask you generally to do things in the different areas. That could be changing the color. So, okay, lovely. So please remember you've got your format, your arrange, your design on here on top. You can right click and you can fill in, colors into the back of it. You can add labels. Please fiddle around with these text boxes, labels, combo boxes as well. All these different things. You can insert an image as well and resize it in here. And I just want to look at the report quickly, that one that I created, because you'll see from your form to your report, it's more or less the same, right? The same layout that you'll see in your design view. So whatever you're able to do in the form, do in the report. Now I want to just, in the report, this is probably the big thing. Let me just see what I wanted to do here quickly. Over here on top, under the design tab, we've got group and sort. Now, if you haven't done your grouping in the actual wizard, don't worry about it. You can always do it here. And here you can see, I can see what I've grouped this on so far. Remember, we grouped it on artist, then on genre, then on owner. Okay. So I can now go in and I've got more options that I can even open up. So I can group it on artist with, A on top or Z on top, with totals, by values. I can have a header section. I can have a footer section. Okay. I can do all of those things right here. The main thing is to know where to do it. So if I click on the next one, I've got my more options as well. If I click on owner, I can do that, and I can add as well, and I can remove. Right? I can say, no, I don't want this. I only want artist, and I want replacement value. I want it from smallest to largest. I want it with totals, and the total must be on the replacement value. I'm going to use this formula, which is sum. I want to show a grand total. I want a subtotal in the footer. Guys, everything is here for you so that when you go back, look at that. I've got my thing sorted. It doesn't look very good, but you get the point, right? I've got it grouped. I've got everything there. And that's how you should be able to get that sorted out. Okay. The only other thing, how is everyone with HTML? I just want to see, did I cover everything? Let me see what has been asked here. Okay, indentation I've done. Okay, Fox, are you saying len where you have to do a -1? Len -1. Okay, I'm going to make a note of that. Everyone else seems to be... Okay, are there any other questions? Anything else? I think the only other one I wanted to go back to was... Let me just have a look. Okay, this is the one I wanted to go and check on again. So this was Word, and this was a document that I wanted to insert page numbers into. At the moment I don't have page numbers, and I've got 3 pages. So let's go to the first page, and at the end of the first page over here I'm going to pop in that section break that I was talking about, so you can see that there. All right, then I'm going to go to my second page. Let's hope it works this time actually. And I'm now going to insert my page numbers, bottom of the page, and I'm going to put in that page X of Y. Now we'll see that it's done that. Okay, so I've got 3 pages over there. There we go. When I open this, you'll see the link to previous is gray, right? So I'm going to take that out. I'm going to say close header. You can see it still hasn't done anything. But now when I go to that first page and I say page number, remove page numbers, it should now, aha, there we go. Right, so I haven't got a page number on page 1, but I've got it on page 2 and page 3, but I don't want it to start at page 2. I want it to start at page 1. I go into page 2, page number, and I can go to format pages and say start at number 1, click OK, and there we go, guys. You know, this is what I was doing the last time. Anyway, so now I've got nothing on the first page. My page numbers start from number 1, and there we go, 2, and there we are sorted. Okay, I feel better now. Okay. Let's see, HTML is fine. Let's have a look. Okay, so remember now what I said to you. I'm just going to delete this. I'm going to add a group replacement value, and I'm going to sort this smallest to largest by the entire value. I want that done on replacement value, and there I can do average. Okay, Fox, there I can do average. This is in my report. I can do an average on the replacement value with a subtotal, you know, all these different things. But basically everything I need to do, I can do within the section at the bottom. And that should then, sort me out and give me my average, and I'll get my figures at the bottom as well. Okay, so please, this section over here, this group and sort is very important. You can, you know, make up a lot of marks over here as well. Okay. Right. Only other thing I just want to touch on now that I'm seeing it there is relationships, I think. Yeah. Look, just practice it. If you have any hassles, you know, reach out to me. You know where I am. Relationships. Okay. So when it comes to relationships, I actually had these slides on here. I don't think there's anything on this one. Okay, so I'm gonna add a relationship. I've only got this table. So if I had another table, I can link one table to another. Okay, so I'm creating a relationship between one table and the next. So for example, if I had another table over here, in fact, I have a picture. I had a picture over here, right at the bottom, I think. Yeah. Where you had two tables, and you can see that in this table, the department is the primary key, right? In the next table that I'm linking it to, it's not the primary key. Now, if you've got a similar field in a different table, it becomes what we'd call a foreign key. So this is why with relationships, you've got to identify the primary key in a particular table. The foreign key that you want to link it to in the other table means it's not a primary key. We then close all the tables, and we would then link the one to the other. So we basically drag the one over to the other. It then forms that line to show the relationship, and then you can say what you want to do. Most of the time, they'll just ask you to do a quick relationship and put a tick in a box that says referential integrity. This simply means that if that particular field is deleted in one table, it must be deleted across all the tables as well. Okay, I have a question. It says I'm only supposed to place a border around the first page. Yeah, so remember now with your page borders, you can apply it to the first page only. Okay, so you'll go to the first page, select the border you want, choose whatever, and then apply it to the first page only. And ideally, when you go over to the next page, it shouldn't be there. Okay, so that option, blessing, that option is there. Okay, so I think that is it from me, folks. Again, if there is anything, put the comments through so that I can, make a couple of videos. For the IEB guys, you've only got next week, and I'm here to help where I can. If I need to make a couple of videos, I can do that. Okay, K-Fox, last one, mail merge. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Let me find one. And then we'll call it a day. I hope you guys have been getting value from this so far. I hope, it's going to help you. I've done really what I could in the time. 3 hours is really, really nothing. So yeah, I'm just trying to find a good mail merge example. I'll probably have to go to the grade 11 work. Sorry guys, I'm just having a look here quickly. Mail merge 159. Okay, let's see, that is 3.6. Camp letter, and they want us to merge it with a database. So here we go. This is our document, and this is our mail merge. So let me just turn this off. We want to merge this with a database, right? We can also see, first of all, that this is where they want the name of the learner to go, surname, address, suburb. So this is the structure. Name of the learner, again, this is the structure they want. Okay, I hope we're all together on that. Now, we're going to go up to mailings. Then we're going to go up to Start Mail Merge, and we can see that these are letters. They'll usually tell us that in the question paper as well. And I'm going to click on letters. That's step number 1. Step 2 is I select my recipients, and I'm going to use an existing list. They tell me I need to use the Learner Life Science database. So Learner Life Science database. Which one is it now? Because I've got the stuff on different desktops. Okay, 6. Yeah, there we go. Learner Life Sciences. So I've started the mail merge. I've selected the recipients. Now I can edit the recipients, and for grade 12s, they will probably ask you to do this. For the grade 11s, you won't need to do this. But for grade 12s, you can see I can edit this recipient list. I can sort it, right, according to whatever I need to do. I can filter it. So for example, let's say they only want learners from a particular area or particular surname, or only from class B. Then I can say here from class B, and that means that once the mail merge is done, it will only be done according to class B. Or I can go and say, well, class C or blanks, or just back to all of them. Okay, so please, if you need to do any editing to the list that you have, whether it's a spreadsheet or database, this is where you do it. Okay, if I don't need to do that, that's fine. Now I need to go and insert a merged field. And now I'm going to go and click on those areas, insert merge field, name. Then I delete the other one that's there. Give it a space. The next one, surname of the learner. Then I delete the next section. Over here, I'm going to insert the address. I'm going to insert the suburb. I'm going to insert the postal code. Then what they've written there, folks, we need to delete that. Over here, name of learner. Put in name. Again, name of learner. And that's it. Okay. So once that's done, I can go and click on preview results, and there you can see what it's going to look like. Everything looks good. I go finish and merge, edit individual documents, click all, click OK. And now you'll see my one document, have a look at this, is changing to 99 pages. Why? Simply because I had 99 entries in the database itself. Okay. So, K-Fox, I hope that sorts it out. Guys, thank you very much for your patience. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here yesterday as well. I really, really do appreciate it. And I hope that, everything is going to go well for you. I want to wish you all well. Let me just see if my screen is up there. Yeah, so as I've done, I just want to wish you all of the best for your finals, grade 10s, 11s, and especially grade 12s. Thank you for being part of the final push. I'm going to check to see who's going to be the winners for today and the overall winner getting that gaming keyboard. So I'm going to be in touch probably by this evening. Check the community tab and you'll see who those winners are. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day and weekend further. And let me know once you're done what the results are like. If you need anything, I'm still there to help. God bless and bye-bye.